There are invisible chains we wear every day. Habits are ingrained in our social interactions that we don't even realize how much they hold us back. They drain our energy, weaken our mindset, and prevent us from living a life of true self-mastery. The Stoics believed that the key to fulfillment is removing what doesn't serve us, trimming the excess, and cutting ties with behaviors that weaken our character. In today's world, these toxic habits often disguise themselves as politeness, connection, or social norms. But look closer, and you'll see how they rob you of confidence, self-respect, and peace of mind. If you want to regain control of your life, protect your mental well-being, and build a stronger, more resilient mindset, you must learn to quietly eliminate these habits. Not with a loud declaration, but with silent discipline, because true change happens not in words, but in action. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset. Your support helps us continue sharing valuable insights on personal growth, self-mastery, and Stoic wisdom. Now, let's dive in. 1. Holding on to resentment and grudges. Few things in life weigh heavier on the soul than resentment. It acts as a mental anchor, chaining you to past injustices and feeding an endless cycle of anger and bitterness. When you hold on to a grudge, you're not punishing the person who wronged you, you're punishing yourself. You allow them to live in your mind rent-free, letting their actions dictate your emotions long after the event has passed. The Stoics understood that resentment is self-inflicted suffering. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Instead of wasting time reliving past wounds, a Stoic moves forward, refusing to let another person's actions define their state of mind. But in a world that encourages emotional reactions, letting go of resentment isn't always easy. It requires discipline, perspective, and the ability to recognize that your inner peace is more valuable than proving a point. When you hold on to resentment, you are essentially reliving a painful moment over and over again. Each time you think about it, your body and mind react as if the event is happening all over again. This is because your subconscious doesn't differentiate between the past and the present. It only responds to what you focus on. The more you dwell on a grudge, the more power you give to the person or situation that hurt you. But how do you let go of resentment? It starts with recognizing that holding on to anger does not undo what happened. It doesn't change the past, nor does it bring justice. It only keeps you trapped in a cycle of negativity. The key is shifting your perspective, seeing hardships and betrayals as lessons rather than burdens. Instead of asking, "What can I learn from this?" This simple change in mindset transforms resentment into wisdom. The next step is acceptance. Many people resist the idea of accepting a wrongdoing because they equate it with approval. But acceptance is not the same as condoning. It simply means acknowledging reality as it is, without wishing it were different. Epictetus taught that suffering comes not from events themselves but from our judgments about them. If you constantly tell yourself that an injustice is unbearable, you will continue to suffer. If you accept that the world is imperfect and people are flawed, you free yourself from the illusion that life should always be fair. Another way to release resentment is to cultivate emotional detachment. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings but rather mastering them. When you detach, you no longer allow external events to control your inner state. This is where true power lies, not in seeking revenge or proving your worth to others, but in knowing that your peace cannot be disturbed by things outside your control. Finally, remember that forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. It's about taking back control over your emotions and refusing to let negativity dictate your life. The greatest form of strength is the ability to rise above pain and continue forward unshaken. When you truly embrace this, resentment loses all its power, and you become untouchable in the face of life's challenges. 2. Oversharing personal details. The world today encourages oversharing. Social media has turned personal struggles into public spectacles, where people feel compelled to document every moment of their lives, good, bad, and everything in between. But the more you reveal, the more you expose yourself to judgment, misunderstanding, and even manipulation. The Stoics believed in measured speech and the importance of guarding one's inner world. Epictetus advised, "Be silent for the most part, or, if you speak, say only what is necessary and in few words." This doesn't mean you should never share your thoughts, but rather that you should be selective about who you confide in and what you reveal. Because every piece of personal information you give away is something that can be used against you, if not now, then in the future. Oversharing often stems from the desire for validation. Many people mistake vulnerability for authenticity, believing that the more they expose their struggles, the more real and relatable they become. But true confidence does not seek validation, it remains unshaken whether others know your story or not. A Stoic understands that wisdom is knowing what to share, and power is knowing what to keep private. When you overshare, you also weaken your sense of mystery. People lose interest in what is easily accessible. There is power in being unpredictable, in revealing only what is necessary and leaving the rest to the imagination. This is why the most respected and influential people in history often carried an air of mystery about them. They understood that information is leverage, and giving too much of it away weakens your position. Another danger of oversharing is emotional exhaustion. The more you expose your thoughts and experiences, the more you invite unnecessary emotional entanglements. Not everyone will understand your struggles, and not everyone will respond with kindness. Some will judge, some will gossip, and others will use your words against you. By keeping certain things private, you protect your energy and preserve your mental clarity. The key to overcoming the habit of oversharing is practicing deliberate restraint. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Does this serve a purpose, or am I just speaking to fill silence? Would I regret sharing this if it reached the wrong ears? Learning to sit with your thoughts, rather than immediately voicing them, cultivates self-control. When you hold back from impulsive sharing, you begin to value your words more, and so do others. Your presence becomes more intentional, your words more impactful, and your peace of mind more secure. 3. Seeking approval from others. One of the greatest chains a person can wear is the need for approval. The desire to be liked, accepted, and validated by others often leads people to betray themselves, suppress their true thoughts, and conform to expectations that do not align with their values. The Stoics, however, taught that the opinions of others are outside our control and, therefore, unworthy of our concern. Marcus Aurelius put it best when he said, "It never ceases to amaze me." We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. This is the paradox of human nature. We value our own existence, yet we give strangers the power to dictate how we feel about ourselves. The need for approval can manifest in many ways. Saying yes when you really mean no. Changing your beliefs to fit in. Constantly explaining yourself. Measuring your worth by how others perceive you. The problem is that when you live for approval, you will always be at the mercy of external validation. One compliment lifts you up, while one criticism tears you down. This creates a fragile sense of self, one that can be easily shattered by a disapproving look or an unkind word. The Stoic approach to overcoming this is self-sufficiency, learning to validate yourself rather than relying on the acceptance of others. This begins with defining your own principles and standing firm in them, regardless of how others react. A Stoic does not seek approval, they seek alignment with their values. This doesn't mean you should reject all feedback. Constructive criticism can be valuable. But there is a difference between learning from others and living for others. A person who is secure in themselves listens to advice but does not bend to every opinion. They stand firm in their beliefs, knowing that their worth is not dependent on external validation. To break free from the need for approval, remind yourself. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. Someone else's opinion is just that, an opinion, not a fact. Your value does not change based on how others see you. When you stop seeking approval, you gain an incredible sense of freedom. You are no longer controlled by social expectations, by fear of rejection, or by the need to please. Instead, you become your own source of validation, and that is where true confidence begins. 4. People-pleasing and seeking constant validation. People-pleasing is a deeply ingrained habit in many of us, often developed early in life as a way to gain approval, avoid conflict, or receive affection. It's the constant need to make others happy, even at the expense of your own well-being. While being considerate and kind are virtues, the Stoics warned against the trap of constantly seeking validation from others, as it diminishes your ability to live authentically. Epictetus captured this perfectly when he said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." People-pleasing often requires that we wear masks, pretending to be what others want us to be, or saying what they expect us to say. But living this way leads to a life of confusion, as you never know who you really are apart from the personas you adopt for others. The constant need for validation is a silent killer of personal growth. It leads you to shape your life around external approval, rather than your own values and beliefs. When your happiness depends on the approval of others, you become a prisoner to their opinions, reactions, and judgments. You end up living for everyone else but yourself. To break free from people-pleasing, it's crucial to recognize that you are not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You can be kind, compassionate, and considerate without compromising your truth. Self-respect comes from the ability to say no when necessary, to stand firm in your beliefs, and to prioritize your own needs without guilt. The Stoics practiced indifference to praise and criticism alike, understanding that their peace of mind did not depend on how others viewed them. The first step to eliminating people-pleasing is to set clear boundaries and learn to say no. Remember, every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to your own peace of mind. Each time you seek validation from others, you give away your personal power. Instead, focus on affirming your self-worth, knowing that you do not need anyone's approval to live a fulfilling life. Over time, as you practice detachment from external validation, you'll discover the immense freedom that comes with being fully aligned with your true self. You'll stop seeking to please others and start living for your own purpose, guided by your values rather than the approval of others. 5. Constant comparison to others. In the age of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. We see others' successes, their achievements, their curated highlights, and we begin to measure our own worth against them. Whether it's comparing your career to a colleague's, your body to someone else's, or your relationship to a friend's, comparison is a thief of joy and progress. The Stoics understood that comparing yourself to others is an exercise in futility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you constantly compare, you diminish your own sense of self-worth, forgetting that each person's journey is unique and shaped by different circumstances. Comparison leads to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. You begin to believe that your life is lacking because it doesn't measure up to the curated image of others. The truth is, comparison is rooted in ignorance. It assumes that the lives of others are better or more fulfilling than your own. But the reality is that no one's life is perfect. Everyone has struggles, challenges, and sacrifices that remain unseen. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own growth. Acknowledge where you are, where you've come from, and where you want to go. Progress is not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. When you stop comparing, you shift your focus to what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your improvement. The Stoics practiced self-reflection as a tool for growth, rather than self-comparison. Instead of looking at someone else's life as a measure of your own, look inward and ask, what is within my control? How can I improve today? Focus on the process of becoming the best version of yourself, not on competing with others. One practical way to overcome comparison is to limit your exposure to sources that trigger it. Whether it's social media, conversations, or the news, reduce the amount of time you spend looking at other people's lives. Instead, invest that time in nurturing your own growth, reading, exercising, learning new skills, or practicing self-reflection. In time, you'll begin to realize that comparison is not only unnecessary but counterproductive. The only competition you need to worry about is the one within yourself. Strive for personal excellence, and celebrate the progress you make each day. When you do this, you'll find that the need to compare diminishes, and in its place, a deep sense of inner peace and fulfillment will emerge. Thank you for taking the time to dive into these 5 social habits that you should quietly eliminate from your life. By letting go of people-pleasing, oversharing, seeking validation, and constant comparison, you're not only freeing yourself from toxic patterns, but you're also creating space for true personal growth, authenticity, and inner peace. Remember, as the Stoics taught, the power to control your life lies within you, not in the opinions or judgments of others. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. And if you're looking for more content to help you live a more fulfilled, Stoic-inspired life, subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset and join our community. Keep cultivating your inner strength, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay true to yourself and remember, your peace is your power.